Hello YouTube and welcome to the new year. I would like to show you a revolver today, which is often considered one of the ugliest guns of the Civil War times. And to tell you the truth, the Savage Navy really has some issues with the good-looking part of the firearms business. But before stigmatizing this gun, let's see how it works, because it has some really good and straightforward technical features that makes it different compared to the Remington and Colt revolvers of those times. So let's see these technical features first. You're watching Cap and Ball TV and this is Balázs Németh.
The Savage Navy can be considered a transition between single and double action mechanisms. First of all, this revolver has two triggers. The trigger below is responsible for rotating the cylinder and cocking the hammer, but the hammer can be cocked manually as well. The hammer has four positions. The first click is a safety for safe transport with loaded chambers. The second is a half cock, and the third is the full cock. The hammer is located to the right side, and it hits the nipple through a hole on the top of the frame. The revolver has a solid frame, so the front and rear sights are placed on non-moving parts, like on the Remington revolvers. The cylinder moves backward for rotating and moves forward for firing. In this position, the mouth of the cylinder locks against the beveled breech of the barrel. So the cylinder is locked in two positions for firing. First at the breech, but it also has a spring steel stop at the back. The cylinder and barrel are locked together with a gas-tight seal. The angle between the axis of the bore and the line of the nipples is around 70 degrees, so the particles of the spent caps cannot fall into the action like they do on the Colt revolvers, but they are also less protected in the meantime.
I believe that these features made this revolver slightly better than the Remingtons and the Colts, but why it was not successful, we have to check its history to find it out.
Simeon Norse manufactured military arms for the government. He started the business in Berlin, Connecticut, but moved to Middletown in 1811. He teamed up with his brother-in-law, Josiah Savage, and established the Norse and Savage Company. In 1856, Norse's grandson, Henry, patented his method for sealing the breech and revolving the cylinder of percussion revolvers. The North and Savage 508 revolver was tested by both the Army and the Navy, with good results. One of the testers was John A. Dahlgren, who personally fired 102 shots with the revolver without any malfunctions. By these times, the military small arms market was ruled by Samuel Colt, so only a few hundred revolvers were sold to the US government. The tests were successful. The revolver was accepted for military service with a few modifications. Shooting the Savage Navy is very comfortable, as the axis of the bore is in line with the arm, so the barrel has a minimal upward movement because of the recoil. Both the Navy and the Army ordered small quantities, but as the hostilities started, the business started to boom. Savage made some modifications to the 508 design and manufactured 20,000 pieces. 11,284 pieces were delivered to the United States Army. And guess what happened to the rest? Oh yes, it was sold on the civilian market, and it was delivered through private agents to the Confederacy. The slow-motion films reveal that the sealing mechanism was not gas-tight completely, but it surely reduced the possibility of chain fires.
This was the part that you can find in the books as well, but now I'm going to show you something special. We are going to dive into the internal mechanism of this gun.
The disassembly of the Savage Navy starts with removing the loading lever. The coil spring pushing back the cylinder is located on the axis. To remove the cylinder, we just have to pull the cocking lever. The ratchet is found on the rear part of the cylinder, which is completely closing the internal mechanism. The revolving and firing system can be accessed by removing the side plate and the grips. The mainspring is a traditional V-spring, unlike on Colt and Remington revolvers. The hand is a long flat steel sheet. And there is one unique part that you don't find in any other percussion revolvers. It is a toggle link that is responsible for the forward and backward movement of the cylinder.
After 1863, Savage did not receive any more orders from the government, as the War Department selected the .44 caliber as suitable for army service only, and it was too expensive to change the tooling for Savage. Also, the Colt and Remington revolvers of those times were priced much lower. They were selling for 10 to 14 US dollars, while it was 19 US dollars per piece for the Savage revolver. So Savage decided to quit the revolver business. After Appomattox, the War Department tried to sell out all the surplus military goods, and they were advertising the Savage revolvers for 17 US dollars per piece, but only 17 pieces were sold. So maybe the veterans also had some taste for good-looking guns.